systematic search of the surrounding area to just figure out how this happened and is there anyone else involved. They really want to get a feel off the top of their heads as they went out there. They weren't sure how many people or passengers in these helicopters. And certainly the emergency management officials are asking people to avoid the Basin Road area of the White Horse Pike around 206 in Hammonton. So that's some of the latest information that we're getting right now. This happened just a short time ago. And just to show you again on the map where we're talking about in Atlantic County. So Hammonton is pretty much right past some of the county lines once you cross from Gloucester County, Burlington County, and that region right there. So I'm going to widen things out a little bit on the map to kind of give you a feel for where we're talking about right now, in particular in Atlantic County. So first and foremost, I'll turn it back over to ultimate Doppler radar to give you that context on the map. So Hammonton area, that is just kind of for scale here, as I widen this map out, we're looking at Camden County, Gloucester County. You see Winslow right there. That's in Camden County. And then just past there, you come into Hammonton. Atlantic County is a very big county, so we're in the very far western parts of Atlantic County. Now, I'm going to take you back to Google Maps here for just a second. Where this took place is right by this Atlantic Care Health Park. Now, there's speculations that perhaps maybe some of the helicopters had something to do with that medical facility there. Maybe perhaps that they had a landing port. We don't know all those details. Usually when you have a landing spot for a helicopter, it would show up on satellite view. As of right now, as I look at satellite view, I don't see that here in this medical facility. Generally, it'll have like a big H and you know you can land a helicopter there. So that's not something I see. I don't know enough about this area right there, but generally it's, oh, you know what? As we take a closer look, okay, so there you go. You see that big H right there on your screen? That would be a spot where you could land a helicopter. So at this medical facility, they do have a spot according to Google Maps, and this was taken, I'm looking at the bottom, in 2025. Usually it actually gives you the month that it was taken. That as of this year, they have been able to land helicopters, and where the helicopters crashed are in a field nearby. As we look live right now from our photographer David, who is there and is kind of getting a feel of what's happening, and I'll show you that live. We're a little bit farther away from where the crash took place. So the crash is around that Basin Road area, and it happened in some fields that are right behind that medical facility. We saw that landing port, that port right there where helicopters can land, and it sounds like right back there was where there was a collision of two different helicopters. And from that collision in Atlantic County, one person has been confirmed that they have passed away. Sounds like there's another person they're taking out of the wreckage. We don't know if there's more people than that involved in this mid-air crash. Now, I was talking to David, who has given us our live picture out of Atlantic County right now, and he was telling me that it kind of got the vibe that the helicopters crashed pretty low. And you can see the picture right there. If you look at the top of your screen, it is cloudy, but it's not like we have fog. So there is some sort of visibility. Not quite sure how this came together. Some of the information that we have right now, as I look at some of the printouts here of what we've been talking to different state police officials out of New Jersey. So officials have confirmed that at least one patient has been located and they're actively being taken out of the wreckage. That's as of a few minutes ago. Crews are continuing to do that search around the area systematically. So kind of grid by grid to look for not only different pieces of wreckage, but also to look, is there anyone else? And you saw a little scroll roll right across there. We're in a neighborhood, and that's where police have blocked it off. And just to give all the emergency management officials plenty of room to do what they need to do. We heard this is kind of like an all hands on deck sort of thing. Some of the folks that go out and fight the firefighters, or I should go say fight the fires in Atlantic County and the Pine Barrens, some of their vehicles have been seen. We see another vehicle right there. It sounds like the coroner had been called to the scene as well, since we do have that one confirmed fatality. So more vehicles coming in to help with the search, to help also kind of just get everything figured out for how this came together. And this is in the 100 Basin Road area in the Hammonton area of Atlantic County. That's where there's reports of two helicopters that crashed. They came down into a field. That field, by the way, sounds like it's pretty much right behind that medical facility that we've been discussing. So back to the maps we go. This is from Google Maps. This is the medical facility. It's called Atlantic Care Hammonton Health Park. I did notice as I zoomed in, because usually if you can land a helicopter, you'll see that pad, the landing pad on the satellite view. And that's exactly what we have up from Google Maps right now. This Google map is dated from 2025, and it shows you that as of this year, that is actively a place where you can get medical helicopters to land, right? You see that cross. That's usually a medical symbol, letting you know that this perhaps could be a patient or maybe someone coming to this facility right here. So this is the Atlantic Care Hammonton Health Park. 2 helicopters crash in a field, sounds like right behind the medical facility. Let's take you back live to show you what it looks like at the scene as different emergency vehicles head to where the 2 different helicopters crash. 1 person confirmed dead. Sounds like there's other people involved. We don't know their conditions right now. At some point just a short time ago, at least one of the person was being pulled from the wreckage. We still don't know if that person is alive or has passed away. So that is the latest what we have coming into the Fox 29 newsroom. We'll continue to follow this story throughout the day on fox29.com, and we'll have the latest right here on Fox Local and in our later editions of the Fox Evening News that'll head your way at 10 o'clock. Appreciate a moment of your time. I'm Drew Anderson. That's the latest in Hammonton County. I should say in Hammonton in Atlantic County. Good afternoon, I'm Drew Anderson. I want to get you up to date on what's happening in Atlantic County. We've been watching live video from Skyfox of a crash of two different helicopters. And as we watched that video, it almost looked like one was a helicopter, the red one that we saw, and the other one looked more like a regular plane to me. But officials have confirmed, as to us right now, that those would be two helicopters. I don't know enough about aviation to say otherwise. So when we looked at the video that came out of Skyfox, that's what we've been streaming with you right here on Fox Local. One of those did not look survivable, the other did. So the one that we looked up was the one in particular that was red. It looked like someone could have walked away for that potentially. We don't know if that's the case. What we do know was there has been one fatality and at least one other person was pulled from wreckage. What the severity of that person's injuries, we don't know yet, but we're certainly going to have that information and we'll continue to get that over the next couple hours as we head toward the Fox 29 10 o'clock news that you can see on air and right here on Fox Local. I want to set the stage for what's going on. So with that, let's go live to ground level. This is one of our photographers, David. He's giving us a live report. We're not seeing a whole lot of different emergency management, and the reason for that is they asked the media to move back. So here's where we're looking. We're looking at Basin Road. Basin Road is in Hammonton in Atlantic County, in the greater Hammonton area. I'm going to pull up right now a map, and I want to show you where the road's at. You see those blue dots right here on Google Map? This is where Basin Road is, and the crash happened in a field right behind this hospital. This hospital you see right here is Atlantic Care Hammonton Health Park. One of the things I noticed on this satellite view, and this satellite view from Google Maps was taken in 2025, there is a landing pad for a helicopter, and you see the cross, which means that can be a medical related flight. We don't know right now if this was related to the hospital, but word that I'm getting from the field is that those two were pretty low to the ground. So perhaps it may have been from a helicopter leaving. We don't know. But this Atlantic Care Regional Medical Center in the Hammonton area of Atlantic County does have a landing pad. And then right back in a farm field or a field that you see right there, that's where there was a crash of two different helicopters. We saw the one red one in particular. What we did is, as we take you back live to the ground level view from our photographer that is right there monitoring conditions of this breaking news, we have some information that one helicopter that we saw where it looked perhaps survivable. We don't know the conditions of each folks that the different folks that were in the different helicopters. We do know that one person has passed away and that different emergency management officials were pulling at least one other person or heading into attend to one other person, and they labeled that person as a patient, which implies that person was certainly alive when they were getting to that person. So the red helicopter we saw in some of the live coverage from Skyfox, which is what we've been playing here on Fox Local, that came out. That helicopter is registered, from what we found on the internet, to Carney's Point. That's in Salem County. And in the last sort of, say, year or so, it sounds like there have been at least 12 different reports of that helicopter going on different flights. Because when you fly, you have to make a flight log, it gets filed, and that information is generally publicly accessible. So that red helicopter, the one that looked like it was still somewhat intact, right? We saw the blades on it. We saw the front part of it where you would sit, look like a two-seater helicopter. That's the one that is out of Carney's Point. That's in Salem County. And it sounds like over the last 12 months that has had at least 8 flights. The other helicopter, the other aircraft that we saw, that was the one that was white. That one did not look survivable if anyone was in it. And certainly since it was flying, there was someone in it. And we do know that there's one confirmed fatality out of this mid-air collision in the Hammonton area. I want to talk weather conditions for just a moment. So for that, let's turn it over to ultimate Doppler radar. It is a cloudy day, but it's not a foggy day. We're talking to our photographer, David, who's there right now. He's the one giving us this live picture. And you can tell from the live picture, it's cloudy, but there's not fog or anything like that down at the ground. There hasn't been any rain or anything like that falling. And David is in our weather vehicle, so we have live, real-time weather information coming from the live report. So you see this live picture that we have right here from the vehicle that's giving us access to that. We have the live weather conditions, and here's what the weather conditions are like right now in Hammonton. So the wind is light, so it doesn't sound like the wind's a factor, and the wind's been light throughout the day. It's coming out of the west at about oh, it's in knots, I'd have to convert 5 knots to miles per hour, but you get in the general vicinity, it's 5 to 10 miles per hour. So that's kind of been some of the weather information we have right there. And as we go back to ultimate Doppler radar, as that reloads, we'll show you that it's just kind of a cloudy day. The area that we're talking about is right here. So here's Hammonton. If you're not familiar with Atlantic County, that's just past Camden County. So you're looking at Gloucester County and Camden County as these two counties on your left. On your left, that is, and to the west right there. And then as soon as you cross into Atlantic County, that's where Hammonton is. Atlantic County is a pretty big county, so it's in the western part of Atlantic County where we had a crash of 2 different aircrafts, one being a helicopter. They're both being labeled as helicopters for sure. Here's the information that we have that's been confirmed by a state trooper from New Jersey. So emergency crews have been responding over the last hour to a fatal aircraft incident involving 2 helicopters, again, according to them. And it's reports that they've crashed where we're looking right now near Basin Road. That's in the area of Whitehorse Pike and Route 206. So throughout Atlantic County, different firefighters, EMS, and law enforcement folks have been there. Earlier, the officials said that at least one patient, so one person, had been located and had been actively being taken out of the wreckage. As we were looking live from Skyfox, we saw there was no other people in the wreckage or anything like that. So that's one person. We don't know the condition of that person that was taken out, at least at that point, alive. It certainly looks survivable in the red helicopter, but we don't know these facts just yet. We also do know that one person has passed away from that crash of 2 different aircrafts, 2 different helicopters in Atlantic County in the Hammonton area on Basin Road. And that, by the way, is this area. So here's our kind of weather conditions, talking about the winds. It happened just in the back of this facility right here, the Atlantic Care Health Park. And notice that they do have this landing pad for helicopters. We don't know if they were taking off or landing, if that's involved, if it's coincidental. But notice they can land helicopters from a medical standpoint right there on that landing pad. And this Google satellite image is active, and a picture from 2025, so this year. And the crash happened in the farm field, sounds like right behind the Atlantic Care Hammonton Health Park, so in this area right here. Where we're seeing our live picture right now is this street right here. This is Basin Road, just to kind of get you oriented. And that's where we're looking at this live picture. And the emergency management officials kind of pushed us back from the field where we've had that live picture from Skyfox. So that is the latest right now in Hammonton, New Jersey, in Atlantic County. 2 helicopters have collided. It sounds like they collided low in the sky, and they've fallen into that field. It looked like one was survival. It looks like the other was not. One person confirmed dead. Another person was taken out of the wreckage. That person's condition unknown. We don't know if there was other people involved. That's some of the information that we'll be working to get and have that update for you tonight on the Fox 29 10 o'clock news on air right here on Fox Local. We'll continue to update fox29.com with the latest information. So at this point, we're going to take you now to live raw footage from Skyfox. So you're going to see the latest as Skyfox goes around the farm field. We're going to see the 2 different helicopters. The red one, that was the one that came out of Salem County, or at least is registered to Salem County out of Carney's Point, had 8 flights in the last year that have been on the logs. And that other one, that white one, and there's not much to it. What police and emergency management officials have been doing is they've been doing a systematic search of the area, sort of grid by grid, looking for debris as well as looking for perhaps any other people that may have been in those different aircraft. So that's something that they're working right now, just to kind of give you a feel. So at this point, we will take you back. Oh, before we go, let's see what this is right here. This just came from David, and I see David's just kind of getting things up. Oh, okay, it looks like they're moving. I know that guy, Jake, that other photographer right there. He, by the way, is someone who works for another station. We've been looking at this crash right here on Basin Road. Well, it's just off of Basin Road. It sounds like it's right behind the Atlantic Care Hammonton Health Park in the Hammonton area of Atlantic County. Sounds like it happened in a field just back there. So at this point, we're going to take you back now, right here on Fox Local, to our Skyfox video showing you the sights from above the ground. I'll leave you with that. Thank you so much.